All right, we're looking at worksheet A66, factoring review. A can be greater than 1, and it could have a GCF. So this is a mix where it could just be a GCF. So the first two, let's look at number 2 here. What do these two have in common?
A.
They have an A. When I take out that A, what's left to redistribute? So A squared divided by A is going to just leave me a single A. Minus 9A divided by A is just minus 9. So that is what I have left.
Is this all we're doing?
I would like it to be. Would you like to do more? All right, now, if you look at numbers 3 and number 4, there's 3 terms here. Is there a GCF on either of these?
No.
No GCF. And because the A value is 1, the factors of 2 will add up to 3. The factors of 54 will add up to 15. All right. I'm going to move on because I want to do a couple of the harder ones with you. And why am I saying that 5 and 6 might be a little bit harder? All right, well, before we say they have a GCF, the first thing that sticks out to me,
They all go into one number.
well, okay, the first thing that sticks out to me is they both have a number in front of the square term, where these just had a 1, so the factors of 2 add up to 3 are 2 and 1. Now, and then you would drop those into your 2 sets of parentheses. When I go to do this, are the factors of 80 ever going to add up to 50? No, you could try as you might. They won't work because this 5 is going to throw it off. So if you weren't looking for a GCF and you just jumped in, you'd be doing a lot of extra work, and then you'd actually probably get it wrong because you didn't do the GCF. So before you start all of these problems, there is a GCF. 5 is the smallest number. Does everything here divide by 5? So take out the 5. It's a 2-step problem. If I divide everything by 5, this gives me r squared. 50 divided by 5 is positive 10, and 80 divided by 5, I'd like to say is 16. Can someone verify that? Okay. So now that I have that, doesn't this problem look like 3 and 4, where I have a 1 out front? So keep your 5, and the factors of 16 will add up to 10. So your first term is r times r. Your last term, what am I going to use for 16? 8 and 2. My other options are 4 and 4 or 1 and 16, but this is what adds up to 10. A positive 8 and a positive 2. Okay, so that's it. I'm done. Double check it. There's my 2R, my 8R. I got my 10R. Oh, I didn't have an R there. Did you catch that?
Yep.
Okay. Number 6, you are going to take out a GCF of 6. And when you're done with that, you're going to then break it down. Now, when you do this, you will need 1 positive and 1 negative because I need to multiply to negative. So take out the 6, and then you're going to focus on this. All right, without ignoring me, you can come back to this. Flip it over to the back and let's pick 1 or 2 to look at there.
Let's do 7, 10, and 11.
I'm probably just going to do 2 of them.
Okay, so 7 and 11.
All right, well, number 7 has a GCF that works out pretty nice. I'm looking at the 6. I'm going to try that first.
Never mind.
All right, does 6 come out of everything? I believe so. So you'd be left with n squared minus 11n plus what? 30? All right, take a minute. Now, I needed to multiply to positive 30. So I'll get my n times my n. There's my first. What am I going to use for last? 10 and 3, that's 13. What else can I get? 15 and 2, that's 17. What else can I do for 30? 5 and 6. And guess what 5 and 6 add up to? Now, I don't want 11. I want a what? Okay. Right number, wrong sign. So whenever I have a positive number, I need the same sign. So I'm going to use a same sign, minus 5 and a minus 6. There's your negative 6. There's your negative 5. Adds up to negative 11. Okay. Number 8 has a GCF. Number 9 has a GCF. Let's talk about number 9. What is my GCF in number 9? I'm going to go with 6. Now, I'm looking at my smallest number. 6 divides into everything. All right, so we're left with 7x squared. Divide by 6 minus, keep the x, divide by 6, don't forget it's a plus 1. Will my factors of 1 ever add up to negative 8? No, because I have a 7 up here. So all these other problems had a 1 out front. This one doesn't. What are my options for 7? 7 and 1. All right, so that's it. 7x and 1x. What are my options for 1? 1 and 1. So, I mean, there's no guessing or checking here. The ones have to be here. The biggest thing is what signs? 2 negatives. Now, some people are saying, I need a negative. If you do 1 negative and 1 positive, will you get a negative 1 back? No, so they both need to be negative. All right, my outside, I have to check. This is where I'm checking the outer and inner. First is good, last is good. The outside is negative 7x. What's the inside? Negative 8x. Guys, we wanted that. Don't go back to the original, go back to where we were. Okay, so big thing, look for a GCF. I know that 21 does not divide into these numbers.
How would that be answered?
This right here is my answer. Is this what you're asking me? So,
I thought those two were.
so we just caught a mistake I made. When I was saying the outside was negative 7x and the inside was negative 1x, I mistakenly wrote 8x. Negative 7x and the 1x do add up to negative 8. I did have a wrong number written there. Okay, so when I'm looking at this one, jump back to this one because I paused that. 21 does not divide into 36. So what else goes into 21? 7. Does 7 go into these? No. What else goes into 21? 3. So here's my GCF. It's a 2-step process, and I just want to set this up to remind you. And then I'm bring my 3 down with my 2 sets of parentheses. If you don't take out the GCF, you're doing a lot more work because 21 has a couple factors, 36 has a bunch of factors. But if you divide it down, what do you get? 7n squared, then what? Plus 40, keep the n, minus. That makes it a lot more manageable. All right, so first is just a 7 and a 1. I don't have to work hard on that. Last, I need a negative 12, so you tell me. We need 1 negative and 1 positive, right? Negative, you wanted what? Negative 4 and positive 3? Or negative 2 and positive 6, or what else? Negative 1 and 12. This is where we do that sort of trial and error. So if I pop down the minus 4 and 3 just because you gave it to me first, how do I test it? Yes, so I know the first works, 7n times n. I know the last works, negative 4 times 3. The outside is 21n, and the inside is negative 4n. Did that work for me? No, it does not add up to. Remember, I want it to add up to this. That's my goal. I think circling that might help me. So next, I'm going to flip them. You don't throw them out yet. You flip them. So 3 here, 4 here, and then let's see what we get. This would be a 28n, and this would be a negative 3n. It still doesn't add up to 40. So throw those out, put in the next set. Now, this is my decision, and you could decide what you want. These numbers weren't big enough. If I put the 2 there, I'm only going to get 14. So I'm going to definitely put the 6 here because it's times 7. All right, so what is 7 times 6? 42n. And what's negative 2 times this 1n? And what's that add up to? 40n. So I've got the right number, wrong sign. If my numbers are wrong, I'd flip them. If my signs are wrong, I would flip the signs. And this is it. This is how it factors. Okay. I cannot stress the importance of the GCF. If you didn't pull the GCF, you're working really hard, and then you have to take it out later. So we're looking at some problems being 2 steps.